My talk title today is Eye of the Heart. And our theme today at New Thought Center, or our theme this month, of the month of July at New Thought Center for Spiritual Living, is Ignite Your Soul. So today I want to address how to come in alignment with our soul through the practice of casting a vision. Our vision is the eye of the heart. And we actually, through our heart, come to know and see the limitless potential of our being. A quote by Chandran Reddy reads, "Sight is what your eyes produce. Vision is what your heart produces. Never let what you see affect your vision." Never let what you see affect your vision. So when we cast a vision, we must turn away from all the evidence and the perceptions that we've formed about how life should be and is, and we must turn ourselves towards the imagination. So when I talk about vision today, I'm going to be talking about using our imagination to hold a mental image in our mind of what we want to create in our lives. Vision, since it's of the heart, is in alignment with what we would call God qualities, or the qualities of source or spirit, or whatever words you'd want to put to that ineffable presence that connects and binds all things. So these qualities are things like freedom, joy, peace, love. So when we cast a vision, what's underneath whatever image we're holding in our mind should be one of these qualities. When I think about the biggest barrier to casting a vision, the first thing that comes to mind is worry, the act of worry. Because when we think about what worry is projecting a negative outcome into the future, right? And when we cast a vision, what we want to do is affirm a positive outcome. Dr. Martin Rossman, MD, said this about worry. Worry can become a destructive mental habit of repetitive negative self-suggestion that creates stress and can lead to chronic anxiety and even depression. Worry lives in the thinking part of the brain behind the forehead, in certain areas of the prefrontal cortex. So when we look at this quote, and that worry's part of the thinking part of the brain, it's behind the forehead, we really get this idea that worry is of the mind and vision is of the heart. Vision is, again, in alignment with the truest part of ourselves, those qualities like peace and freedom and love. So aside from worry being a barrier to being able to cast a vision and to be able to affect change in our lives and create a better quality of life, worry actually has some physical implications as well, and I want to go over those today just so that we can really paint a full picture of what worry does to us. 50 to 75% of all visits to primary care providers in the United States can be linked back to stress or emotional upset. A study conducted at the University of California, San Diego, which is my alma mater, found that unrelieved stress is a significant risk factor in heart disease, stroke, high blood pressure, autoimmune diseases, fibromyalgia, chronic pain, irritable bowel syndrome, insomnia, and asthma. It's quite a long list there, right? So we actually have studies now that link these physical ailments to worry, to stress, to emotional upset. So it's more supportive, I would say, for us to find it in our being to be able to cast a vision of affirmative hope than to live in worry. The problem is that many of us were taught to worry. I know I was taught to worry, and many of us were taught that it's a form of expressing love and care, right? It's a form of confirming and validating someone else's concerns. And so how do we do this? How do we balance validating someone else's experience and someone else's concerns and also simultaneously shift to holding a vision of hope, a vision of light? It's actually really simple, but it takes a little bit of practice. And I'll give you an example today. If someone comes to us with something horrible that happened to us, or even if we are going through something that's horrible and feels hard, we have the ability at any moment to acknowledge our pain, to acknowledge the pain of someone else, and say something like, I am so sorry this happened to you. That must have been really hard. And really mean that. Of course we're sorry that happened. Of course that was hard. And then we have this beautiful opportunity when we come into this teaching to shift from there to, I'm going to hold your situation in light. I'm going to hold your situation in prayer. I'm going to hold your situation in love. So we're not just ending with the sympathy or the empathy, we're also declaring to that person and to ourselves that we're going to take it a step further and we're going to shift into casting a vision. And I'll go into more how to do that as the talk goes on. So there is a power in holding the highest vision for ourselves, for our lives, and for our loved ones. If you think about it, there really is no power, there's no hope in worry. So we can express our concerns, but if we live there and it becomes habitual, then we have this potential to lose hope and to lose sight of our own power. The good news is that worry is taught, like I shared before. It's learned over time, and we absolutely can unlearn it with practice. And studies actually confirm and show this. And before I talk a little bit more about that, I want to discuss really what I mean by vision and the power of vision. When we think about a vision, we think about an affirmative statement that declares what we want to see in the future. So we read our vision statement together for this center, all as one, and it's about creating a world that works for everybody, a world that everyone feels included, right? So that's our vision here at this center. It's also in alignment with the vision for Centers for Spiritual Living, which we are a part of, which is, again, creating a world that works for everyone. So right there, I'm saying a statement about the future that's affirmative, that's positive, that's in alignment with the truest part of ourselves collectively. And when I talk about vision today, I want to narrow it down to the individual, to our power as individuals. So I want to talk about holding a mental image in our minds that in that moment we believe is true, that we find the faith to embody in that moment as we're holding it in our minds. This is what I mean when I say cast a vision. So I'm talking about using mental images, using the imagination as an affirmative prayer. For those of you who don't know what affirmative prayer is, it is a form of prayer in this teaching in which we shift from the old way of praying, which is beseeching to something outside of us to please, please help us, begging for it to help us, right? To declaring that since I am one with all that I see and experience, and I'm one with that ineffable presence of God, source, spirit, light, because there is a part of me that is always connected to that limitless potential, that I absolutely have the power to affect change in my life. So rather than beseeching, I'm affirming that I am one with that power and that presence. And so that is where my power can happen. That's where my power can change my quality of life, is when I tap into that space. Ernest Holmes said, prayer is communion. And this communion pronounces life to be good. Prayerful communion ascends to that place where unity has not yet become variety, where the unformed one is ready to take specific shape. In this act of communion, the individual becomes co-partner with the eternal and gives birth to time, space, and conditions. So when we cast a vision, when we declare an affirmative prayer, what we are doing is we are entering into a liminal space. And it is in that space that we join with the unformed one, the unity before the variety. And it is from that place that we can access the field of possibilities and pull into our reality what is in alignment with our soul. Okay? So this isn't about pulling into reality cars and money and whatever. That's not what this is about. I mean, I believe that's possible too, but is that really important, right? What I'm talking about is pulling into our experience what our soul wants. And our soul doesn't care so much about the cars and the money and the perfect job and the perfect apartment. What our soul cares about is what's underneath of that. The freedom, the love, the peace, the order, right? This is what our soul cares about. So what Ernest Holmes is talking about is entering into communion with the truest part of ourselves, which is connected to the one, God, source, light, so that, again, we can pull into reality from the field of possibilities goodness, light, peace, love. We were never meant to suffer. So this is the power of prayer. This is the power of casting a vision. And all great mystics knew of this power. Ali ibn Abi Talib said, "The vision of the eye is limited. The vision of the heart transcends all barriers of time and space." All barriers of time and space. Rumi said, "Shut your eyes so the heart may become your eye. With that vision, look upon another world." This is exactly what I'm talking about today. Shut your eyes to what your past perceptions may have been and turn towards another world, the world that is in alignment with your heart. This is the eye of the heart. All great mystics spoke of being able to see with this eye. They believed that all barriers would dissipate when we really tapped into our ability, to our faith in co-creation and experience with God, with Source, with the One. In the last 2 decades, through functional MRI and SPECT scan technology, we can now identify the parts of the brain that are activated when we worry, and we can identify the parts of the brain that are activated when we are relaxed and hopeful. And they are very different parts. Dr. Rossman stated that the brain is changing constantly and that the brain can learn new patterns and pathways at almost any age. So this is good news. This is what is known as neuroplasticity. We have the ability to shift habits of worry and refocus our energy into practices like casting a vision and affirmative prayer. With these types of practices, like the one I'm going to lead you in a little bit, the one I'm going to show you today, it will support you over time in shifting to casting a vision as a way of life. You could just be casting visions all over the place, right? Instead of worrying all over the place, because where has that gotten you? I know when I was doing it, it didn't get me far at all. So there are 3 steps to casting a vision. Very easy, just 3. And I want to talk about them first before I lead you all in the practice. So the first step is the breath. Step number 1 is the breath. So if you find yourself worrying or concerned, as I've said in past talks, validate your pain, validate your emotions, give yourself some empathy, and then turn to the breath. So if we take deep abdominal breaths all the way down into the lower abdomen, studies show that we shift our brains from that worry center to the part of us that is relaxed, that is hopeful. And so we go from the sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight, to the parasympathetic nervous system when we abdominally breathe. So step 1, abdominal breath. Step 2, relax the body. So as you're taking these deep abdominal breaths, scan from head to toe. And if you notice any tension on the exhale, you're going to want to release that tension. So as I'm breathing deep into the bottom of my abdomen, on the exhale, I release the tension in my jaw. I release the tension in my shoulders. in my fingers, in my wrists, and all the way down to the toes. So that's step 2, is relaxing the body. We have a much better chance of embodying our vision and having faith in our vision if we shift ourselves into a space that is calm, that is hopeful. So we want to do these first 2 steps, the breath and relaxation. Number 3 is the part where we imagine in our minds and hold in our minds the opposite of whatever it is we're concerned about. And we want to hold it there as we breathe deeply and continue to relax. And as we see that vision in our mind, what we want to do is feel in that moment that this is true, that this can happen. And we want to do it in real time, because many of us who are sitting here know that linear time is an illusion. It's not really a thing. So when we cast our vision, we want to be here and now. And we want to cast our vision here and now. We want to feel that it's happening right now and feel into it as deeply as we possibly can. Again, this is where our power is. And when I say our power, I don't mean my power, the ego's power. I mean the power of the divine within us, of God's source light working through us. Okay? This is not the power of the ego. In fact, the ego needs to surrender and get out of the way to be in alignment with the eye of the heart. Okay? So now I want to invite you all into this practice with me. It's a powerful practice. So I invite you to get comfortable, whether you're online or in person. Just get comfortable for a moment. You can close your eyes if you want to, or you can simply cast them downward. And if you don't feel like participating today, please know that you can do whatever supports you right now. Take care of you, and if you just want to listen, you're welcome to just listen. Wherever you are today, if you're participating, I invite you to start with the abdominal breath and bring to mind something that's really concerning you right now. What's up for you right now? It could be something personal. It could be something global. It could be about another person. But bring whatever that is to mind. And then I want you on the exhale, when you're ready, gently let it go. And continue with the abdominal breath. Breathing in, letting the abdomen rise on the inhale, and breathing out and letting it contract on the exhale. Taking 2 more breaths just like that. And as you continue with this breath, I invite you now to scan the body from head to toe. And as you breathe deeply with every exhale, see if you can relax your body even more. And if those of you who are really tired need to take a nap, you're welcome to. And just exhaling, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the shoulders, and going down the body, relaxing the stomach, the neck, all the way down to the toes. And keep working down your body, inhaling, expanding that belly, exhaling, contracting the belly, and relaxing the body. And as you continue with this practice, I invite you to bring to mind now the opposite, the exact opposite of whatever it was that you were concerned about when we began. What does the opposite look like? See it. What does it feel like? Really feel it. What God quality, what spirit quality is in this vision? Is it peace? Is it love? Is it freedom? Is it joy? Is it order? So bring that to mind. What God quality is happening in this vision that I'm casting? Still breathing deeply. And now in this moment, I want you to really feel this in real time, right here and right now. Feel that this is true. Feel that this is possible. Continue to breathe deeply. And I want everybody with me now whether you participated or not, to affirm all of these visions right here and right now by saying with me, and so it is. And so it is. Beautiful. Blessed be. I'm affirming right here and right now that these visions are the truth. They are in alignment with the truest part of who each of you are. Take a moment to orient yourself back to the space that you're in. Look around, turn to the person next to you and smile if there's somebody next to you. If you're by yourself, that's fine too. You can just give yourself a little love and really bring yourself back into your body, back into the space that you're in. I strongly invite you this week to watch your worry with yourself and how you express it to other people. And see if you can catch yourself. See if you can practice in that moment shifting from worry to casting a vision that's in alignment with the truest part of who you are. Use the breath, relax the muscles, and then cast your vision. Again, we now know that our brains are much more adaptable than we once thought, and we absolutely can create new habits of prayer, new habits of vision. For those of you who kayak, or if you don't, you can just imagine that you're going down a rushing river, okay, and you're going really fast. And if the whole time you're going down the river, you're just looking at the rocks, what's going to happen? You're going to smack right into a rock, right? Okay, now, and even if you don't kayak, I think we can all see how that might be true. Now, imagine you're going down the river, you're going super fast. It's a little bit scary, but instead of looking at the rocks and the obstacles, you're looking at the way through. Now what's going to happen? You're going to go through, and you're going to make it, and you're going to be fine, right? So when we worry, we're focusing on the rocks. And if we do that, we're going to crash right into the metaphoric rock. But when we focus on the spaces between the rocks, we have real power to affect change in our lives. To worry, again, is to focus on the obstacles, to focus on the rocks in our lives. To cast a vision is to align with the truest part of ourselves, to align with the eye of the heart, and to see a way through and create a better life for us and for everyone else. Thank you.